He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are
What up,
what is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen Rose, joining us today on the show is none other than LL Cool J, the founder and CEO of Rock the Bells, legend in the game. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Absolutely, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
So the first thing I want to know is about Rock the Bells brand and how you're expanding it in this movement that you started.
Yeah, well, Rock the Bells is a modern media platform that we've created, and it's basically for Gen X classic hip hop fans. You have, for so many years, a lot of the Gen X fans who love classic and timeless hip hop weren't getting a chance to really they didn't have the chance to really dive into, the culture, and touch the artists they love, hear the music they love, explore the culture the way they really want to. So I created this platform. The difference is that this platform, not only did I get great strategic investors, but I made other members of the community owners. Run DMC has ownership. Roxanne Shante, Big Daddy Kane has ownership. So many different people. Fab Five Freddy has ownership. It's Salt and Pepper has ownership. I just wanted to make sure that we not only did something phenomenal for the community that was Black owned, but really gave the classic hip hop culture an opportunity to own something that they built for the first time. Because for so many years you had all these mega trillionaire corporations, they were the ones that were always benefiting off the culture. So now when you go to rockthebells.com, not only can you go to the Commerce Hub and buy all kinds of products, anything associated with hip hop, whether it's a do-rag or extensions for your hair. Not only can you do that, but you can go there and read about Big Daddy Kane and read about Kool Herc and read about where this hip hop culture started from and really learn about the culture as a whole. So we're just controlling the narrative. History is written by the winners, and I wanted to do something great for the community and great for the culture, and that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Ladies love Cool J. So Bubba Wallace shows up at work, and he's a NASCAR driver, and he just has a noose in his personal area. Yeah. What do you feel like NASCAR should do about their racism issue?
Hey, look, racism isn't only organizational. It's really, and it's not only institutional, it's really in the hearts and minds of racists, right? So they're gonna just really have to weed out, those racist people. As these things come up, as people make comments, they're gonna have to decide who they want to be in business with. And at the end of the day, he made a statement. It was a positive statement, and he shouldn't have to, go to work and find a noose, in his car, or a noose, near his property. I mean, this is just, systemic racism, and institutional racism in general starts in the hearts of people. It's not like, you can't point to a building and say the building's racist. It's people. You know what I'm saying? It's the individual. So we really have to take a look at it. And I also think that we have to take a stronger look at implicit bias, because I think that there are a lot of people who may not consider themselves racist, but tolerate certain things that they shouldn't. But it's good what I will say on the positive side is it's good to see so many people of all ethnicities on the right side of history now really putting their, themselves on the line and stepping up and saying, you know what, we're not into that anymore. We recognize it, we see it, and we're not with it anymore. We're going to stop it.
Well, I mean, it's not a sprint, it's not a marathon, it's a lifetime commitment to fighting social injustice and sort of undoing the systemic racism. And it's going to take contributions from everybody, including NBA players. Now, there's a little bit of debate from NBA players is, should we go into the Orlando bubble and play basketball? That might distract from this movement. That might not actually help the movement, might hurt it. Or do we use that attention that will be on us as a platform to help the movement? Which way do you think that NBA players should go?
I think it really depends on how they would use the platform, right? It really depends on how they use the platform. I think that that's ultimately what it's about, because this is a really important time, and this is a time where history is on the line. If we look at history and we take somebody like Muhammad Ali, a lot of his greatest social work was done when he was, which was one of the big travesties, when he was stripped of his title, stripped of his belt, and wasn't boxing, right? That's when he made a really huge social impact. So, looking at history, there's something to be said for the idea of not playing and focusing on the social injustices that are going on from a precedent standpoint. When you look at how Ali made the impact. Now, that being said, there are, I'm sure, some players who need to feed their families. Everybody's not in the same financial position and doesn't have the same luxury of laying back. So, you have to take that into consideration as well. So, I think that, the Players Association really has to take a hard look at it. Do they want some of the players to play and not all of them? Do they want to, give out some stipends? Do they want to just, is it time to just sacrifice? You know what I mean? Because real people, around the country, they're suffering for real. They don't have, these salaries. They don't have, all the luxuries of, maybe I'll go to work and make $1 million. They're like suffering. You got people living in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. So I would say that the focus needs to stay on the movement. But I do understand there is something to be said for using your platform to move it forward. But I would say, you got to focus on the movement right now. The movement is what's important, because 200-300 years from now, we're going to be remembered for how we address this moment and how we deal with this moment, not for how many points we score.
Absolutely. And as a seasoned vet, an activist, a philanthropist, an actor, an entrepreneur, can you talk to our audience about the power of the dollar? I saw a stat that it stays in our community for 6 hours. And you just acknowledged some of the players will need to go play because they need to feed their families. So in other words, if money wasn't an issue, you take that power and you use the platform the way you see fit. Can you talk about how change is now happening because Black voices have now realized the importance and the power of the Black dollar?
Jalen, let me tell you something. The whole reason I started rockthebells.com, and I mean this sincerely, is about empowering our people. It's about building something for the future. It's about giving the people who built the culture an opportunity to participate in capturing value. All right. So economic empowerment is absolutely key. And a lot of times it's not about, making $1 zillion. It's about not living above your means. It's about, not seeing how many diamond chains you could buy and how many cars you can have. It's about kind of keeping life simple. But economic power is super, super duper important. I mean, the Generation X, from what I understand, just the X in general has about $2.4 trillion in buying power. A certain portion of that is Black and brown, women. I mean, look, we have to support our own. You know what I mean? To not go to check out, a Big Three basketball game is a travesty. To not, go and support, go on rockthebells.com and buy products is a travesty. We have to support our own, and we have to be economically empowered. And that comes from just keeping the money and letting it circulate. Now, mind you, this is not about being excluding people. I think that, I think Black people in general, we want to participate in capitalism in America and be part of, what's going on in America. We're just saying, don't push us out. We're not saying that nobody else can be included, but we want to be included as well. And it's not only about having a seat at the table, it's about having your own table. You know what I'm saying? So I would just encourage people to participate, to support our own. Yes, you can still, we're not trying to do anything and say you can't buy anything from anyone else, but buy some, let's go to these Black businesses. Go from the Black restaurants. Buy some of their stuff. Buy from Black clothing lines. Spend your money with them. We don't have a problem with all of the high-end, companies out there. It is what it is. But let's support each other as well. And I think that'll make the country better. I think if the Black community and the brown community, if we really support our own, it'll only be better for the entire country. You know what I'm saying? It makes the country better. It's a better narrative for the country as a whole.
That is so well said, and we appreciate you joining us on the television show. Don't forget, we have exclusive content with LL Cool J on our podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that. We've got new information about Dak Prescott. 2 minutes, Jalen Jacoby returns. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Want to thank LL Cool J for coming through and encourage you to listen to the podcast because we always have exclusive content on our podcast. We have some today with LL Cool J. Jalen, we have some big news. Dak Prescott is going to sign a $31.4 million franchise tender. However, he has until July 15th to work out a long-term deal with the Cowboys. Do you think that signing the tender will hurt his leverage in getting a long-term deal done?
I think it helps his leverage, and it furthers the relationship in acknowledging that you're negotiating in good faith. I appreciate that I'm going to get a substantial raise, and so I'm going to sign my franchise tag. However, if we don't get a deal done by July 15th, you might as well flip over the hourglass and Kirk Cousins style 3-2-1 unless you pay him to be there so very much that he can't turn it down. He's going to be looking to play elsewhere, and that's how I think this plays out if they don't get a deal done.
I mean, $31 million is a very good number to play quarterback in the NFL. However, when you only get it for 1 year, you can only get franchised twice. I really want to see the Cowboys and Dak work out a long-term deal before July 15th because, injuries can happen. And it seems like he's been playing for his next contract for the past 3 seasons. I don't want to see him have to do it again. But the question is, who is he going to do it with? Jamal Adams of the Jets has told ESPN's Rich Cimini that he wants to be traded. Interesting. Now, if you don't watch a lot of Jet games, you might not know just how good Jamal Adams is at football. He's one of the best players in the league, easily the best player on the Jets. But when he was riding around Texas, here was an interaction that he had with a fan.
What's up, bro? Hey, what's up, bro? What's up with you? Hey, you coming to Dallas? Hey, man, I'm trying, bro.
He's trying to get to Dallas, Jalen. What do you think?
First off, them throwback G-Wagons still so very dope. The other thing is NFL players are going to mirror NBA players based on the fact where they get picked in a type of organization during their rookie deal. You get drafted by my Lions or probably the Jets. See Darius Slay, for example. After your rookie deal, you're trying to bounce. In his case, you see where he is? Trying to roll with the Cowboys. They just drafted well. They just took care of most of their players. Dak signed a franchise tender. They're going to be on TV in every conversation about the NFL. So he's trying to roll with the Cowboy star. Sorry, Jets. Get a deal done. Pay him to stay. Like the Cowboys going to have to do that.
I would love to see Jamal Adams on a big-time team. When we come back, we have some more trouble about the NBA bubble. We'll break that down for you in just 2 minutes when Jalen Jacoby returns. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, it is time for another NBA bubble update. The latest is this: as corona cases spike in Florida, the NBA looks to head to Florida. There is a concern Adam Silver voiced this weekend about the coronavirus and the spiking down there and the outbreak. Jalen, if you're an NBA player, how hesitant would you be to commit to this bubble idea?
Very hesitant. And you heard Lou Williams say he was 50-50. And here's why, Jacoby. It's a duality. You can't isolate what's happening with coronavirus versus what's happening as it relates to the social unrest of the killing of unarmed black men by law enforcement or vigilantes. You just can't ignore it. And with a league that's over 70% black, it's going to permeate throughout their households and throughout the communities. So this is not a done deal that all players and teams from every squad is going to end up, and each roster is going to be filled out with players enthusiastic and ready to play basketball right now.
Well, we will hope for the best and prepare for the worst. While the NBA themselves can quarantine, the people that work at the hotels, the people that make their food, those people will be going in and out of the bubble, which could cause a problem. I want to thank LL Cool J for coming by and everything that he's doing with Rock the Bells. Make sure you listen to our podcast where we have exclusive content.
Jay.
Coming up next is Dan Le Batard and Highly Questionable. We'll be back.
You're far too kind.